Yes, everybody, the Premier League has started and West Ham kick off in a few short hours away. Let me turn the fan off. I'm a bit clammy. It was hot last night. As we take on Sunderland at the Stadium of Light in a few short hours, we'll have the predicted 11. That'll be out in a couple of hours' time. But as always, we bring a match day morning to you to get you all hyped. I'm your hype man. For the game, because I imagine some people aren't hyped for it, but I am. You probably already, if you've done your fantasy football league team, great. Don't forget we've got our fantasy football league team running. So there is the code for that. Also, I'm excited because we might see the return of the King. The King may well return to Sunderland. The likelihood is he'll be on the bench, according to what Jacob was saying from Sunderland Fan TV. We spoke to him on Friday. Yeah, King Arthur 𝗪𝗪𝗧 returns to the Premier League and could be up again, if he does play, it could be up against his Congolese teammate, 𝗪𝗪𝗧, right wing back. He's left wing back. Interesting times. In a minute, we'll bring you the stat attack, so you've got all the latest information on the game in terms of the various stats between the two sides, but also in terms of team news or team news you've heard in terms of listening to both press conferences from Potter and Reggie. Now, for me, this is, we always seem to get promoted sides first game back after a long time. I remember at Forest, wasn't it? We lost 1-0, wasn't it? Disallowed goal, if I remember. And yeah, from our side, and we could have got a draw. Personally, I think if we get a point today, I think that's a good result for us, because Sunderland are going to be absolutely buzzing. Absolutely buzzing. The Stadium of Light can be such an incredible atmosphere when it gets going, and I think the adrenaline will bring them through that game, I think, from their side. Jacob was a little bit hesitant. Obviously, they brought in a lot of new players as well, a lot of new signings, some signings that I would have minded, lots of Habib Diarra. They've signed 𝗪𝗪𝗡𝗥𝗟𝗔𝗡𝗥. He's going to be their captain this season. I think that's a really good call from them. They've got a new goalkeeper. They've got Arthur. They've got Telby as well from Club Brugge. They've got some really good players, but they've got a lot of good players, and I think with promoted sides, they go two ways. They do a Burnley a couple of years ago. They didn't buy anyone, and they thought, we're just going to probably just go up and down, and keep the parachute payments, which was one way. Or they go balls out and they do a Forest. Now, not to extent at Forest. They bought 20 odd players, didn't they, this season they came up, but they've bought 8-10 players something already. Sunderland, we're still sort of 2 weeks left of the transfer window. But I think most teams have had. Leeds have had to buy as well, and Burnley have bought. I don't think they've bought as well as Sunderland. I think Sunderland have outbought the other two promotion sides, so they're giving themselves a fighting chance. I think that's how you have to. I don't think you can get away with it, like in terms of going with a team. I think Jacob reckons that the team that won the playoff final against Sheffield United, 3 of them will probably feature today, which is a huge turnaround in the space of 3 months. And I don't think you can. I think the Premier League is now at a level where you can't have that sort of team mentality in terms of the team that brought you up in the Championship are good enough for the Premier League, because very rarely they are. And there's a reason why the last 2 rounds of Premier League football in terms of 2 seasons have seen the 3 promoted sides go straight back down. I just think the gulf is getting so big. So someone like Sunderland, it's great to see Sunderland back in the Premier League, because they're a big club. Leeds are back in a bit. We've got Leeds back in. We have Forest back in now, and it's sort of a little bit returning back to type, really. So the bigger clubs are sort of, the cream is rising to the top, so to speak. I think it's going to be fascinating. I've done my predicted 11. Not no spoilers, but I think probably a 9 out of the 11 positions we can pick. There's 2 which may be a slight question mark about them. And I've made suggestions in terms of what I think, but let me know in the comments what you think about that as well. Obviously you can watch the starting 11 show in a couple of hours time, but for me, I just think there's a lot there's a lot riding on this for both sides, particularly from West Ham's perspective. Obviously, one of the questions that I think the Moose said to Potter in the press conference yesterday was, so, you've had a relatively free hit last 6 months of last season. Can we judge you now because from this game onwards, because this is your side or the side you have been working on in pre-season? And I think that's a fair point. I think he has had, that he has had a settling in. He's had the longest pre-season of any West Ham manager or any manager really. The best part of 7 months, 8 months since signing in January. And I think, we know that, in a strange way, someone like Gerd coming back into the fold, very much a Potter defender. So, very much is, although he wasn't brought in, he was very much seen as someone that Potter wanted to play with. He wanted to have in the team. You've got 𝗪𝗪𝗦𝗧, I think, again, you look at the players, a lot of them are still the ones who Moyes or 𝗪𝗪𝗡𝗥𝗥𝗟𝗔𝗡 brought in. But in terms of the way we're playing, in terms of the new guys being brought in as well, the likes of Diouf, Mads, not really KWP, because I think he's very much part of the squad rather than the starting 11. I think you've got a side now which is starting to mould. There's one glaring issue in my eyes, which I think everyone is that JWP role. I think he'll play today. Spoiler alert, I think he will. And if that's the case, who's going to fill that void? Because we play Sunderland today. We've got Chelsea next Friday, and there's a great opportunity there to put in a performance today, and then go into Chelsea in the lights, the fireworks, all that type of stuff would really carry some nice momentum for us. And I think that's what it is for me. His word is Potter's word is obviously positive, but for me it's about momentum. And with now games one after week, then we've got cup games against Wolves away, and we've got some big games coming up. Spurs, after the international break, and maybe then that's when we've been earmarked, penciled in for Somerville's return to the first team. Be like a new signing. I'm sure they'll make it look like it's a new signing as well. It's about this gathering, and not just momentum for the team, but momentum for the fans as well, because I think a lot of fans are floating voters. I think there's definitely guys who are pro Potter and anti Potter, and then there's a whole raft, probably about 80%, I reckon, 70-80% in the middle, who are floating voters, who will move one side or the other based on results and based on performances. And I think, for me, the only way we're going to have a successful season is everyone pushes in the right direction. It's just my opinion, the fans and the players. And so, but the fans need something to come on board with. There's some people who are blindly optimistic. I'm one of those people. I'm always blindly optimistic. That's always just been my nature. I know it pisses people off, but that's who I am. I never falter. I'm always positive, and I'm always looking at why something or the reasons, or trying to dissect things. And sometimes there isn't no reason, but maybe I'm looking too deep into it. But for people to come along with it, we need people we need something on the pitch. We need, and I think particularly the last few sort of pre-seasons, we were seeing incremental improvements. Now the business end starts now, then it starts today. So let's see what happens. As I said, we'll have the starting 11 show. We'll also have the watch along, and we'll be doing a little review show after that probably as well. And then also tomorrow, don't forget, we've got the Thomas Repka interview. He was at the Rusk last night with Jimmy Walker, Julien Felbert, and James Collins. A good night had by all, in more ways than one. We've got the full interview on Sunday as well. So, hopefully, fingers crossed. Weird, my fingers look being crossed. Fingers crossed we get a result today, decent performance, and then you can sit down tomorrow and watch Thomas Repka talking about West Ham and how much he loves it. Lovely. Anyway, I'm going to end with the stat attack. If you like what we do, don't forget to give it a like, comment, share. Don't forget to check out Match Bingo as well. The QR code is there if you're in the UK and you're 18 and above, and get your dabbers and dobbers and get your cards for the game in a few hours because that will close soon. And you can win some money. I mean, we've won it. West Ham Network, Match Bingo were kind enough to give us some money to show, for us to play with, to show you how it works. And we've won a couple of times. So, it could be you, as the old National Lottery thing did say. Anyway, we'll finish with that. We'll finish with Stat Attack and see you soon. Much love, motherfuckers. Come on, you irons.